Okay, so I taught you last class we treated all of all these icons at the bottom of the layer panel, and I told you their function. So in continuation of this design, we are going to look at their some of their functions. Okay. There was one design I did lately. Let me see. Did I did it on this system? Let me see. Yes, it's here. This guy. There's one design I did, and I think I showed you now. You see the shadow? Do you see the shadow of the key?
Yes.
Now it's for you. Like you need to understand how light and shadow works. You know, it's something I taught you when we were
Yes.
doing correct draw. How light and shadow work. Look at, for instance, the shadow of that fan. Somehow you just have to think when shadow is falling or when shadow is casted on something. What shape does it take? Depending on the shape of that, because shadow is shapeless. The object itself it's a shape, but the shadow is shapeless. Shadow is dependent on the object and where it's casting to. That's one thing you should know. You get? So if it's casting to a wall, it will definitely fall on the wall, taking the shape. You understand? If it's casting on a tree or a pole, it will just squeeze itself, like fold itself around, and the rest is lost. You get? So that's something you should take note of. So this is like a wall now, and you can see the shadow. See how long the shadow is. This is where the shadow stops. This particular point is where the shadow stops. Let me put a layer of this. I'm using brush because when you be listening to this, you may not be enjoying it except you have mouse. So I was saying that this is where the shadow stops. Yellow, okay. Let me take red. You see where the shadow stops. So, and see the distance of, okay, let's say this is from here now up until here. This is the distance of the key, and somehow you will be noticing it like this. This is the distance of the key. So it's like you brought this alright there. You brought the shadow down. You brought as in to also mimic the height.
Yes.
You understand? But if you really check what is happening, what you are trying to sell as a message is that light casted like this.
Yes.
You understand? That's how light casted. That's the message you are trying to send in this. That light casted like this, and you can see the shiny area of that key, some shiny edges of that key. You get? So that's exactly the realistic this thing we are trying to put here. Yeah, we are trying to put in this design. So if we look at this our shoe now and want to create some realism here, first of all you need to say, what really am I, how am I looking at this thing now? Are you going to be looking at it like it's on the floor? Because that will be much more appropriate. Let's say for instance now it's on the floor. I just noticed one error here. Your E and your shoe, they are far apart. Your H and your shoe, you see it now. So you take note. So if you look at it like the shoe is standing on what now? Because it's not clearly hanging on the H.
Yes.
So but if you say it's lying down, that they just put the shoe on the floor and it's lying down, then you can now furthermore interpret the shadow. You get? So let's apply a shadow. But you see, this type of shadow that we are going to apply, to me, is not the best. Because let me tell you the gospel truth. It is not this shadow that I put in this key. It's not this shadow where I went to FX. No. Let me show you the shadow here. The shadow is a layer on its own. This is the object itself. This is the key object. You can still see that the shadow is still there.
Yes.
Let me remove this layer now. You can see that the shadow is still there.
Yes.
So the shadow is a layer on its own. You can see I remove the shadow now. I actually reduce the shadow to 15% opacity. So let me increase it so that you will see it. You can see it now.
Okay.
So I actually, what I did is that I made the shadow a separate layer so that I can control it. You don't get that control when you use the FX That's the effect, the shadow that comes with the FX. You don't get that large control. But over here, you have that control. So I'm going to show you the two methods. One, creating a layer, and definitely it's nothing compared to that of what is it called now? That effect. That's the effect is nothing compared to creating a layer kind of shadow. So let's go back to it now. So let me move to, and this is the shoe is selected. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is let me just go to that FX and select drop shadow. Let me bring it to this screen because it's only this screen that is recording. This other screen is not. Alright, so I hope this thing is recording. Yeah, it is. Okay, so if let's reset it. I like to reset the shadow. So it's like now it's not having any. The shadow is small. Let me just explain now. You have from here now the blend mode multiply. It's a topic on its own, so I'll just keep it for beginner. Don't touch it. Just leave it as it is. Multiply. The color is black. Still leave that one first. Opacity is what you will need to adjust. Angle, yes, you need to adjust it. Distance, yes. Global light, okay. Spread, size, okay. Every other thing below here, leave it. So what we are concerned is from opacity down to size. We need to know how they function, okay. Now I can play with the shadow in such a way that it might look like that one I did for the key animation. But like I said earlier, it may not be as perfect as you want it, especially that you want to control it. Alright, so first of all, let me blow the opacity now. And still yet you are not noticing it. I've noticed it too, but you may not notice it as a beginner. Let me take it out. Do you notice something?
Yes.
So that's 0 and that's full. Now what's going on is that there are some things around the shoe that are casting shadow. I need to clean it up. The shoe needs to be as clean as possible. Hey! This is what I don't know I'm teaching you. I'll flog them now. Alright, so let me try to clean that thing. Let me just have only that layer selected. How do I do this now? I'll flog the two of you. You are disturbing my class. I just created this background so we'll see it. So let me clean it up now. I'll use the brush too. Don't worry. You have a class where you understand what I'm doing. There's a better way to do this, but I don't want to.
Better and easier way.
Yeah, better and easier. I'm just like, let me just do it sharply. That's the way that it will be perfect, not like it's easier, but it's just the way of getting perfection. So I don't need this background again. Get to, except if you decide to use it, but I don't need to again. I'll just put it off. Remember that eye icon visibility, so it's off. So I bring in the other guys. This, no, not you. This and this. Okay. You see that each of them is on a separate layer.
Yes.
You didn't do that. Your own, you just combine it too. So that's why it was hard for you to notch. Bring this closer, bring down closer. The E, I can have control of it if I want to. You can see I can take it closer.
The spelling has their own layer.
Layer.
No wonder.
You get.
This is getting clearer. Okay.
Yeah, so I just type S one layer.
Okay, the difference between this Photoshop now is that anything you are working on
is a layer.
is in layer. Okay. So if you want to manipulate it, you just click the layer and do whatever you want to do.
And it's only on that layer.
Okay. Then if you view it, you will now see what you have done.
Except you group the layers.
Okay.
Remember the grouping thing.
Okay, okay.
And you will do it in the group, and all of them will obey.
Okay.
We'll come to that because I'll apply it in the SH and E. Okay, so this shoe now, if we go back to that shadow thing, because I don't want us to see that thing, so we'll blow the shadow to the extreme. So let's go here. Reset to default. I like resetting to default so that I can adjust everything. Don't ever try to make default.
Okay.
Please stay away from it. Okay, so I take it to 100, and you will not notice anything that happened, but me, I've noticed it is just a little tiny bit of it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to adjust angle first. I'll tell you how angle works with global light later. But for distance, so that you will see the shadow. You see it.
Okay.
You see it now. It picks up the shadow.
He remove it. Wow.
Remove it.
That is separating it now.
Yes, now that's
Wow.
it now. So you see. So the distance is to take it away from the shoe. Kind of the distance from the shoe.
Yeah.
The distance from it. That's all you get.
Okay.
There's a way to get to when it's too high, you will not see the shadow again. You see, that's 30,000. And I wonder what somebody will be doing with that kind of amount. So it's just for you to choose where you want. So now let's assume we leave this here, somewhere around here. Okay. The next thing is spread. How much it spreads. It's picking up that thing that I don't like. You understand? So how much it spreads. But the way to get that spread clearer is when you use size. Size, for instance, is the feather. That's how soft it is at the edges. Shadows are usually soft at the edges. You get. If you look at this shadow of the fan now, just take a look. You see that the edges of the that up is feathered.
Yes.
So that's what this one is doing. This size. So as you are seeing it now,
Yes.
becomes feathered, and this is the best way to explain spread. Now when you now increase spread, you see how wide it gets because of size.
Okay.
You understand? Because of size. So if you increase the spread, also the same thing. Okay, that thing that was attached to the shoe is still there. I don't know why it's still there. Okay, so but most times I would advise don't use spread.
Okay.
Yeah, don't use spread except you know what you are doing, which I will leave for future classes. Okay, so for size now, you can see what size has done. This is 79 and the distance is 81. Somehow, to get this accurately well, let your size and your distance be at close range. If you use 5 distance, you can use 3, 4, 5, 6
Okay.
size. You understand? Depending on how soft you want the shadow to be. But the thing that controls all of them is the opacity. Like if you take the opacity down now, you just notice that it becomes a very soft shadow. This is what we call soft shadow. Don't make shadow obvious. I apply shadow, can't you see it? No. Sometimes people don't know what you did to make something pop up, but they just know that it's looking fine because you apply little things and they cannot argue with the beauty of it. So it's good that you learn how to do that. So I use the opacity to control it. I think I still want to reduce that size a little bit and reduce the distance a little. And there. So with this now, you see that the shoe is just definitely telling us that it's not flat. It is a 3D. It is pulled out of the background shoe. Okay, so you can click OK to that. So that's one effect you can learn to add. I'm going to duplicate this shoe. Ctrl J for duplicate, and I'm going to remove the shadow in the duplicate, so that we're going to create that other type of shadow. Then I'll put off the first layer that has our shadow effect. I'll put it off, so you are not seeing any shadow now. Again, this is a layer, the duplicated layer. You see shoe copy, and this is the original layer with the shoe. The difference is that when I click down here, you see this FX, there's a button in front. That's this FX we applied.
Yes.
The button in front tells you that there are more things we applied, which is effects.
Yes.
Under it we apply drop shadow. If we apply more effect, they will all line up.
Okay.
So you can switch it on or off with that eye icon.
Okay.
So something you should take note of. So like this now, this is the sorry, let me put this on. This is the shoe we want to use, and this is the shadow. I put it off, I put it on. You see that?
Yes.
So it's like a switch. I don't need a shadow, it goes away. So I want to create another kind of shadow that I did in this
Key.
one,
Okay.
this key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that layer, okay, again, which is Ctrl J, and let me take this duplicate shoe copy 2 as shadow. I'll just quickly rename it and call it shoe shadow. Okay, so and now let me put off this one that is on top. You will not notice any different when I put off any, as in, you will not notice any different because they are just the same, they are in the same position.
Okay.
But I just know that this is the one I'm working on.
Okay.
This layer is the original shoe, but there's no shadow on it. Yeah, this is the one that we did before that has shadow with it. Okay, let me do something here. Let me just change the colors. This green, the one we did. Change the color. This blue. This blue. So know that these two are together. Excuse me. Alright, thank you. Alright, so the one with the shadow is one that is on active now. Let me put off all the shoes so that we'll just be looking at this one we want to work on. So as I select it now, I'm going to convert it to black, completely black, because shadow is black, not colored. So I'll go back to this FX and use color overlay. It's an effect. I have many methods of doing this, but I want to do this because I've taught effect. I just so I'll go to color overlay. And color overlay, what does color overlay do? It just puts color on any object. Now the shoe has disappeared. Why? Because the color here is white and the background white has covered it. And the shadow is what? Black.
Black, yeah.
So what we just need to do is to take black color, select. Once you click on it, this box just comes up. So select black. So now you see the shoe.
Yes.
Exactly as it is. So click OK. So here is the shoe now, but it has a black overlay on it. So the idea now is if we put this shoe here, that's if we on the second shoe, that is the object now. We need to pull the other shadow down because shadow is supposed to cast down. So we need to. So what we need to do is we can just simply selecting the shadow. This is the shadow selected now. Press Ctrl T, which is the transform tool, and just use your mouse to pull it down to just the way you want. You understand? You can adjust it later. It's adjustable. But for me, I just pull it straight down a bit, so I can press enter. Because after you use the transform tool, you must always press enter. Then you put on the shoe. Now you see that there's a difference. But this is not all. You know how the other shadow was soft.
Yes.
So there's a way to come around this. To make this our shoe shadow soft, we apply an effect or a filter, okay, called blur. So you get it from the filter menu. Now go to blur. You see there are all these things. There are things you will learn, you will get to know, but I'm just taking it gradually. You have to use blur. The one I use mostly is Gaussian blur. There are many types of blur. I use Gaussian blur and motion blur. That's why you see shortcut on them. Photoshop allows you to choose shortcut anytime you want. So I'm going to use Gaussian blur. I could actually use motion blur if I want. But now after I've applied Gaussian blur, do you see the softness now?
Yes.
So if I increase the blur, you see the softness gets much. Hey, that cleaning. Alright, I know what to do. I'm going to convert this to a smart object. It's something I've not taught you, but I just told you that there are 5 types of layer the other time. So because I don't want that thing to show, so I'll just right click and convert to smart object. Where are you? Convert. Yes, that's it. Convert to smart object. I have shortcut. That's why I hardly. So I've converted to smart object. Let me put off. So this is the smart object. So I'll just go back, go to that blur, go to Gaussian blur. You see now that thing is not there. Let me increase and be sure. You see it's not there. Okay, so that's for you to know. So let me reduce it a bit and click OK. Now the thing about this effect we're applying is that it is not destructive. Let me explain that. we converted to smart object.
Yes.
Any effect we apply on a smart object will remain around this layer, meaning you can come back and adjust it. Like what you see here is 20.8.
Okay.
If maybe later you discover that you need more, you can come and adjust it. So it does not apply and you cannot adjust later. So that's why it is, because it's smart object. If it's ordinary layer, once you apply it, it's gone.
Okay.
You cannot adjust it again. You cannot bring it back. You can only be taking it forward. That's just it. So this is where it is. If you click down here, because of the effects that we applied, or the filter, this is how the filter icon looks like. This one is the effect icon, and you will see more of it under. Why this one is the what is it called? The filter icon. This filter, anything you apply from this filter menu, this is how it will show. So it is Gaussian blur we have applied now.
Yes.
And that's what is here. So if I double click on this Gaussian blur, it will bring out where I stopped. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I can as well reduce it if I want. Let me reduce it 80, just to show you that it's reducible. Alright, so now I put on the shoe and you can see that softness.
Yes.
So you now ask, because when we are using this one, we saw that we can control opacity,
Yes.
we can control size, we can control spread and all those things. And so how do you now control opacity in this one? It's very easy. Every layer in Photoshop has its own opacity. This layer has its opacity. This layer has its opacity. Every layer you select in Photoshop has its own opacity. So you are not even you are not left to not know what to do about a layer. So we can reduce the opacity of this layer by just taking it down to 20, and you'll be noticing it.
Okay, yeah.
You are seeing it now, right? Okay, maybe even 45 is very okay. So this is 45 and it's looking soft. So now I want to group these two together. This is the shadow and this is the shoe itself. I don't want to link yet, because if I link, when I link, it means that they'll be together. Anyway, I move this and move. And I don't want to link because I may adjust the shadow later. So I'll just group, which is to press on this or press Ctrl G. Excuse me. So I can just name it shoe 2. So this is the other shoe. Let me put on the other layers. So now this shoe is with this one that has layer, the group one. So if I put off that one, you see the other one. So you will hardly tell the difference. You see?
Yes.
You hardly tell the difference. This is because I've mastered how to use layer. You understand? So you are going to actually continue your design. The correction you will make now, because that's how we're teaching. When you bring back the work, you will take it back and be making until that design is sweet. It's sweet. It's like for you can now publish it on your Facebook or your status or your WhatsApp that yes, I did this design. Okay, so the correction you will make is that S will be on a layer,
Okay.
H will be on a layer,
Okay.
E will be on a layer.
Okay.
Second correction, still on this, is that each one must have its own. The font must look condensed. The condensed font in your system, I'm sure it's in your system. You can copy this one, Acumin variable concept. Okay, you have the video, so you can get a font that is condensed. Is a font that is squashed. You understand, from the side, it's squashed from the side, and so that is just it. So for purpose of I said we can use this layer before, so let me bring it down. I want it to be the background. This red, I want to be the background, so I'll just select it. Hello, why is it not showing? Okay, I took it too down. Outboard. So although you can see that the color is contrasting with the blue, so I just need to adjust something. The S and H, I will turn them to white because the red is in the shoe, so I will just choose the white color. So I selected the SHRE. I selected the white color. So now I think it's much more better. So the other one I can use white too. Use white. Okay, so so this is the shoe with the layer shadow, and this is the shoe without the layer shadow. Now I told you something, that this one with the layer shadow has more control. It has more control, and you will be arguing, but it's the same thing we just did. Yes, it's the same thing. If for instance I want to exaggerate the shadow, you understand, I cannot do that with the effect shadow. I can only do that with this one I created, which is the artificial one. So how do I do that? I can just say, for instance, now if I press Ctrl T, the shadow, this is the shadow. By the way, if you press Ctrl T, the filter that you apply, that Gaussian block, will leave. It will leave temporarily until you leave transform mode. So if for instance now I stretch this shadow holding down shift, okay, in your own you may not hold down shift, it will stretch. You will notice that the shadow is still at the head, but I prolonged the shoe. You understand? Making this, and you know sometimes shadow can be longer, taller than the object itself. That is something we cannot create with that cross shadow. So if I create that illusion here, this one is too much, but let me just make it look like this. Just for the sake of tutorial, it doesn't look very perfect. You will create an exaggeration that the light is casting from the top.
Yeah.
You understand? Let me create a new layer. So we are creating an illusion that the light is coming from the top, and so that's why the shadow is casted down there.
Yes.
I can reduce the opacity of the layer so that it looks very fair, because now with the red background. So this is something that I can do, but I cannot do that with this other one. Rather than that, this is what it will do. Let's put it off and bring in that one and activate the drop shadow. Double click on it. So if I increase the distance, see what happens. Both the shoe and everything. Okay. It does not leave the shoe at the somewhere close to that. It just does something like that. And sometimes this is not really what you want. Like you don't want the shadow to look like that. This is also can also explain some things, but maybe this is not what you want. That's why I said that the other one gives us more control. For this now, I can just say, let me take the shadow to somewhere around here and make it look like this, and say, well, let's manage this one. But that's for lazy people. But it's not looking as good as you may want it. You get me? Okay. Alright, so that is just it. Alright, any question?
In non share, I want us to let me I'll go and get mouse and then after this class.
Please do.
You see the way my background is.
Yes. You didn't select artboard when you were, and you didn't put background. When you notice that your background is like that, you put a background. A background can be the solid color field, which is this one. Solid color.
Okay.
And when you select it, it will just ask you for a color. You can choose any color you like. Choose any color you like. You can even move the colors around like this. Choose anything you like. You take it. So you see it has covered everything because it's on the top. You already know what to do. Just bring it down.
Okay.
Go to your room. Let me check out. Yeah, she's moving. Any question? Again. Any question again?
No. No question really.
Alright, so let's treat one more effect. We have treated two effects. Drop shadow, color fill, color overlay rather. Color overlay. Remember, you know what we use color overlay to do? Hey, that was on the second shadow that we applied. You watch the video anyway. So the third effect we are going to apply is called inner shadow. Okay, CorelDRAW recently introduced it in their recent distance. So when I saw it, I said, we are now catching up when we have left there. Anyway, so to color inner shadow is like the opposite of drop shadow, because drop shadow is outer. You understand? But objects have shadow that they cast inward. The reality of objects is that they have shadow that they cast inward. That is very subtle. It's a very subtle voice. It adds to the design. It becomes realistic in nature or in view. Alright, so we'll use the shoe to work on that, the shoe thing. But for this, I'm not going to be applying it one. You understand? I'm going to apply it as a group. You understand? So I will select the SH. You can select it from the canvas, or you can also select it from the layer.
To select is control.
Not control, just select one, hold down shift, select another one.
Okay.
Hold down shift, select another one. If you are doing it here, you understand?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if control can work. No, control does not work. Control only works here.
Okay.
If you are selecting the layer, you select one, and maybe you want to select E now, you can hold down control because you want to jump H.
Okay.
But if you want to select everything, if you hold down if you select S, hold down shift and go and select E, both H and E will be selected.
Okay.
So that's the way to do it. So press Ctrl G. Make sure you watch this video, especially over and over again. That's how you know somebody that will improve. So this one, I'm going to name it SHE for the group, so that anytime we see it on the layer, we will know what it is.
Okay.
So that's SHE. We know that there is shoe here, the main shoe, but this one is SHE. It is the text itself. So for this one, make sure that the layer is selected before you go to FX and select inner shadow. So when you select inner shadow, allow it to pop up. Allow it to pop up there. You can the opacity now. Let's reset to default first. Reset to default. Remember, reset to default. So now the blend mode is multiply. I told you for the scope of this class, leave blend mode first. For the opacity, okay, 35. Alright, let's start with that. But okay, because we are learning, let's blow it up so that we'll notice it when it comes up. Where you should pay your attention to is these edges.
Okay.
I'm going to work on a distance now so you see it. Now watch. Do you notice something?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something you should know about. Now, when I was teaching drop shadow, I didn't talk about this angle, but I'll talk about it now because it's the same thing. For beginners level, I will also say remove this use global light, uncheck it, because I cannot explain it now. Maybe in future I'll explain it, but for now, just uncheck it every time you want to use shadow. It's also in drop shadow.
Okay.
You see it, use global light, but remove it. When you select one, this thing here, all the features of that one will come out.
Okay.
You see the head, inner shadow, that's what is here. If you select drop shadow, let me just select it. You see drop shadow, every feature is about drop shadow, and you can see the shadow that has been casted because it's checked. So I want to uncheck it so it leaves. So I'm working on inner shadow now. You get it now?
Yes.
Alright, so this distance thing now that is created, this angle controls where it's coming from.
Okay.
You see, it controls which side it's coming from, and so it's up to you to choose the side you want it to come from, the inner shadow. Are you getting it now?
Okay.
When it's at the top here, it means the shadow should come from the top here. Are you getting it? So that is it. So I'll reduce the distance a bit. Then the size is the same thing, that softness thing. You can see it now. You can see that softness thing. It's making sense now. It's looking like 3D, Abi.
Yes.
That softness thing. I will now reduce the opacity. Reduce the opacity small. reduce. That softness is too much. Okay, somewhere around 29. Okay, so you just notice it. Let me increase the opacity a bit for learning purpose. If it is a design, I will not take it that high. Take a look at me. I'm not charging my phone. I forgot myself. So you get it now. Yeah. So this is the softness we applied, and for this one, I can also that there's another method that will make it much easier. I've always been using this. You understand? There are other methods, but I don't think it's as easy as this. This is just for me. It's easy. Then I click OK, and so you see that this effect we applied was applied on the group.
Okay, on the group.
On the
text.
SHE.
Yes.
Not on the individual text. So you can also go inside and apply another effect individually if you want. You can apply another effect if you want. But for now, I think that the one we applied on the group suffices. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so I think I should be making use of that artificial one I created. I don't really like this one. That over exaggerated one. Okay, so that is it. We can also change the background if we want.
This
Okay.
one is okay.
Well, that's what you shall. So you see that the shadow comes out.
Actually, the
more.
shadow is visible
It
here.
is visible, but if you ask me, it's too much. I will reduce the opacity once I notice this, because background makes us to change shadow. We'll talk
Okay.
about it later. Makes us to change shadow. So that is where we'll stop for now. Any question?
I'll need video.
Yeah, I said the video is on record now. You just ask your questions, so I will answer inside the video,
Okay.
and then I can send it to you.
Okay, now, okay, like this, in summary of this assignment, you know, if I want to start, because I want to start all over, I don't even enjoy that. I will first of all set the background.
Yeah, set the background. Remember the solid color.
Okay,
Remember the solid color. Set the background for the solid color. That should be your first thing.
okay,
And create a new document, for instance.
okay.
I will not go over it like to the end, but just to show you. Because I'm using artboard, it's already set white, but what you need to do is go to solid color, make sure you put a background.
Okay,
Okay?
okay,
Practice renaming too. After you have selected the color you want, rename it. Double click on the color field text.
okay.
Don't double click outside anywhere like here.
No,
Don't double click here. Don't double click here.
yes,
On the text itself, but if you double click here, what will come out is different.
okay,
You understand? See the thing that will come out, and that's not what you want. So double click on the text itself and give it a name, BG or background. Back G. Okay, and you know that that one is out. Then the next thing you are bringing in, you can go and go to file, place embedded, go and look for where you kept the shoe. I'm not going to be looking for that one. Don't
Okay.
even know where it is. Look for where you kept the shoe and bring it in. Then you create your second layer where you type S only. Press your T2 to activate your text tool, or you can select the text tool, change your font to what you want, select the font, even if you don't get the sizes accurately, you can always adjust. So just click, because you're on the layer, you just click and type your first letter.
okay,
And select your move to. Once you are done, select your move to. Adjust your to your size. You can
Okay.
come to the property panel
okay,
and adjust. You can just adjust to your size the way you want it. Move it to the position you want. Then sometimes what you can do is you can duplicate this layer
okay,
and type again. Ctrl J, it will duplicate it, S copy.
okay,
You bring it, you can hold and shift to move it exactly, to not move. If you not hold and shift, you see with the dangling,
okay,
but you hold and shift to move exactly, then you can just adjust it to where you want. Release the mouse first before you release the shift.
Okay.
Don't release shift before mouse.
Okay.
Then hold down T again. Also not hold down, press T and click on the text. Don't click outside the text, on the text, then clean it and type H. After that, select your move to. Do the same thing again. Ctrl J to duplicate. It has duplicated, but you to be on top. So you move the other one towards the end because you know your shoe will come here.
Okay.
And you press your T and clean or anyhow you want to do. Press your E. Select your move to. Move to is the shortcut is V, so you can always press your V quickly. Then you can start doing all the effects that you want.
Okay.
This way is on separate layer.
Okay.
Don't go and type everything once because to break, they don't break in Photoshop. If CorelDRAW can allow you to break, but not Photoshop. So everything is treated on layers.
Okay.
So is that again?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so we end the video now. End the class too.